U.S. Threat Assessment Center, and he is also the official training partner of GunCon. He's running the shoot house out back. You guys definitely got to check that out. Eric is a very good friend of mine, an amazing guy, longtime friend in the industry. We also have Logan Medish from High Caliber History. Hey, we got some Logan fans. Good.
He brought his family.
He is also in a metal band, but won't tell anybody about it for some weird reason.
It's a ZZ
I don't get
Top
it.
cover band, John.
ZZ
Top cover band.
We picked Z. I thought it was Rat.
Ah.
Buckets. All right. This young man next to me is Jared Grove from American Outdoor Brands. He represents Lockdown, Frankfurt Arsenal, Caldwell, all this stuff. This guy is one of my favorite people in the industry. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Thank you, fans.
I'm standing next to one of my oldest friends in the industry. This is Joe Haney from LMT Defense. Now, I've got stories for days about the gun that he made me. The first ever custom AR-15 I got in this industry was from this young man right here. This guy believed in me before anybody else, right? And he still does, I hope. Thank you, Joe.
Jury's out.
And right here, we've got Tiberius Gibb, YouTuber and barrel salesman. Barrel Gang, what up? How are you?
Wonderful.
Good, thank you. And a surprise guest, the man, the myth, the legend that is Eric Pratt of GOA decided he was going to join us up here. We've got a super wide variety of people. Guys, get up to the microphones on the left and right-hand side and ask questions. We've got the live stream out there. By the way, if you're watching live on YouTube right now, I seriously freaking appreciate you. Thank you for being here and listening to this. Guys, I got a question for you. We're going to kick it off on the left-hand side. Eric, what do you think is going on in the industry right now? What's the hottest thing that you've seen? You come with a unique perspective. What's the hottest thing in your world, in the defense world, shooting house world? Tell me about it.
I would have to say that a lot of the products that are helping you guys conceal carry, like our sponsors, Neomag, if you've checked out some of their stuff, getting the gun a lot more concealed. Also, starting to change some of the products so that when it is time to use the gun, if it's a fanny pack, a backpack, that they're more accessible. And then giving you guys the opportunity to take those products and go train with them. They're conceptually phenomenal. They're evolving because of the feedback from the training industry, not from the feedback just from the wearer. So keep that in mind, that the products that they're putting out need to be validated in a training scenario.
So a lot of EDC focused stuff, that sort of thing. Everybody's decided that defending themselves is legit and they need the good tools, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. What do you think, Box? Sorry, Jared.
Yeah. So my nickname is Box or Lunchbox. My mom calls me that. So you all can also refer to me as that. I kind of agree with what we saw from COVID. A lot of people went out and bought firearms. A lot of people got involved in other industries too, like fishing, camping. We saw that. So now we have all these new firearm owners. The group is getting more diverse. It's very exciting. We need to start focusing, or what we're focusing on, or what I am, is getting that group exposed to other brands and they've bought the gun, and now it's getting them the accessories, getting them on the range shooting, motivating them to be a gun user, not just a gun owner. And we see a huge opportunity there with these millions of first-time gun buyers, and we want to make them have as most positive of experience as possible and bring them into the fold. So that's kind of where I'm seeing the industry right now.
Right, thank you. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, if you're out there watching, I want you to pay attention to, sure, the TGC name is up here. We've also got the Brownells name. Let's give a big round of applause for Brownells for supporting this. They're our current live stream sponsor, and we really do appreciate that. Honestly, this kind of stuff doesn't happen without a lot of people coming together, so I really appreciate it. We've got a question on the left. Go ahead, step up and speak into the microphone. What's your name?
might not be on. Yes, it is. G'day, my name's Leth, and just want to say thanks very much for all the work that you do in your various industries. There's a lot of change in the interest.
Get closer to that mic, please.
There's a lot of change and interest in in consumers' focus in all of your industries. What's been the biggest challenge that you've had in catering to all the constant changing of interest and focus amongst your demographics and audiences?
I'm going to throw this one to Eric Pratt first. What's the biggest thing that you've had to overcome with the changing industry? Now, this is coming from a different perspective from a political organization. I'm curious about this.
I think what we've seen is been very encouraging. And by the way, let me just start
Thank
off
you for the
by
question.
also thanking Brownells. On 2A Day this past February, they gave a very generous donation to Gun Owners of America and many other gun rights groups that are on the front line. I think one of the in terms of biggest change that we're seeing is groups and organizations that are seeing what we're doing. And okay, I'm going to kind of come at this from a political point of view, as you said, John. They see what we're doing in the courts. The Bruin case was a game changer. We're winning a lot of battles, a lot of court victories. And so people and organizations are really stepping up to support Gun Owners of America, which means that we've now got more attorneys out there in the field bringing cases. We've got more state directors than ever fighting battles in the states. It's really expanded what we've been able to do.
That's fantastic to hear.
Well, Mr. Pratt,
Tiberius, what do you think?
Well, for me, it's more on the product side. Like John said, I work for Rosco Manufacturing. We make gun barrels, and there's always a new caliber, a new flavor of the month, and it's very expensive to get into new calibers. My example I always use is 224 Valkyrie. Does anybody remember 224 Valkyrie?
Boo.
That was going to be like the coolest thing ever, and we spent so much money on T&E, and that round's like gone. Most people didn't even raise their hand that they've ever heard of it, and it was supposed to be the next great thing.
And there was just this air of disappointment on stage when you said that.
I felt everyone down there went, oh.
I had such a hard time selling barrels. I had to give ammo away with the barrel to convince people to buy the thing. So it was a tough caliber.
Yeah, so where you invest in new products going forward and R&D for the future when, what next caliber is going to take off and which one's going to die.
Hey, Joe, what do you think as I fall off the stage?
Well, so I'll mirror the comments made before. On what we do here at LMT, we do some commercial stuff, but a lot of what we do is in the defense sector. So in the defense sector, there's been a huge push for soldier lethality. So making the warfighter more lethal, which in turn blends back into the commercial industry.
Ideal, right?
Everything that we do always trickles back down to the commercial sector and what civilians can have and shoot. And being more lethal has been a big push. So a focus on night vision capability, being more accurate with that night vision capability, lasers, and then powered rail technology has been a big push in the defense sector, and that's something you guys probably haven't seen yet, or maybe you've seen kind of the infancy of it, but weapon systems with their own batteries that power the rails, power the optic sights, that will power lasers, flashlights, that sort of thing has been a big push in that future lethality for soldiers. So.
Okay. Check. There we go. I really appreciate that question. That is a great question.
No worries.
Come up here, and I'm going to give you some extra tickets. Just rip
Hey, John,
off a
do you
little
care if
chunk.
I talk a little bit
Listen,
about the change
you
in the
guys
training?
didn't get up. Nobody got up to answer. She's got a question. We're giving out extra tickets for people that ask good questions. That was a great question. Thank you so much.
Hey, John. Yeah. You care if I talk a little bit about the training changes?
Go ahead.
I mean, you brought me up here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I love you.
I love you.
Love you. Miss you. Mean it.
All right, so in 2020, we obviously had to shut down for about 4 months. We're based in Indiana, and we're in Muncie, Indiana, which is a college town, so we've got a lot of diversity. What we saw immediately after, our students' diversity base changed quite a bit. A lot more of the folks that work at the university were concerned with protecting themselves. So what that forced us to do in the training industry is to have a more structured, tiered system so that you as gun owners that want to step into the training industry, we have something just from just doing range and then all the way up to validating your training in the shoot house, doing force on force, having an opposed threat. And so we really became a lot more robust. We went from about 6 courses we were teaching to 35. And that's just to keep you guys
like throwing
engaged.
gas on the fire.
It really was.
It was like throwing gas on the fire because everybody was like suddenly concerned about their safety and learning how to use the thing that, they were scared, and fear drives that stuff a lot of times.
I think people realized the opportunity for them to actually be engaged in a lethal situation increased tenfold.
All right, we'll take another question. This young lady has an Instagram following, Boomstick Babe. Check it out.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Lottie Dottie. We like the body. No. Wrong mic, wrong time. This question is for Mr. Eric Pratt, I believe your name is. Hi, my name is Alicia Garcia. I'm a Colorado native, and I'm kind of a 2A advocate, kind of loudmouth civil rights person. And I just heard you mention that you received a hefty good donation from Brownells. That's great. You have more state directors, et cetera, than you've ever had. My experience has been the opposite of that. We do not have a state director for Gun Owners of America in Colorado. As a matter of fact, I believe the person that was doing that job is no longer doing that job and is also divided amongst other states as well.
Is this a job application right now?
No,
is that
it
what
is
you're doing?
I don't know if I can be afforded. What I'm saying is that what is Gun Owners' agenda and plan to pretty much, get more involvement, not within your community as well, but in your company, and making sure that every state is represented and that you have somebody who's dedicated to a fight in a lot of these states. I'm seeing that Colorado is really, really under attack. We're losing battle after battle after battle, and there's a lot of people that are very passionate about staying in the fight and making sure that our civil rights are being represented. And I want to know from your perspective what you guys plan on doing that, and as well as how do you plan on getting the communities and people more involved and more educated in what's happening in their local states and creating that sense
So
of
essentially,
community.
what are you doing to turn up the heat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's a great question, and it's always a process, finding good people. We actually do have somebody who's covering Colorado. You're right. He's our western or the Rocky Mountain area director for several states, but he was actually very involved in Colorado fighting the assault
No, he
weapons
was not,
ban
sir.
recently.
I hate to break it to you, but he wasn't. And I also believe that his wife is also in politics in Colorado Springs. So I've been to every single one of these meetings at the legislation, and he has not represented himself or Gun Owners of America at all. I think actually the last person that showed up from Gun Owners of America was the barefoot defender for the assault weapons ban. So
Actually, he was very involved. We can talk afterwards offline, and I can go through all what he was doing. I mean, I don't want to have a spitting contest here. But anyway, it's, again, if you're offering a job application, as John was saying, no, we are looking for people that can be in a particular state. But right now, we have coverage with all 50 states, and the other lobbying groups do that as well. They don't always have one person per state. It's not necessarily efficient, but as the budget grows, then we're able to bring more people on. So that's the exciting thing, and we're rallying more people than ever. We did a joint letter to the Congress recently with the 2A industry and the 2A influencers. John was on it, Jared of Guns and Gadgets. I mean, this is rallying millions of viewers. In the House of Representatives, for example, I speak with the leadership. They told us that bill to repeal Biden's gun ban, we don't have the votes to pass it. And let me tell you, these YouTubers that are in here generating the grassroots, man, we had thousands upon thousands of calls coming into those borderline congressional districts, and by a whisker, we got that repeal passed. We failed by a whisker in the Senate, which was unfortunate, but either way, now this is sending a strong message to the courts that, hey, Congress would not have passed this Biden gun ban. He circumvented Congress, banned up to 40 million pistol braces, and by sending that message that the House of Representatives voted this down, that sends a strong message to the courts that this was completely inappropriate. That's the kind, so to answer your question about how are we trying to grow the message, we realize we can't do it all alone. We have to partner with those who've got the loud soapboxes, and that's how we're really spreading the message at the national level and in the states.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be publicly obvious, but they are doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make their message a lot louder. Let's go to a question up here. Come get some tickets. Grab yourself some tickets. You got a question? You got a question on the left.
Yeah, I guess it's working. First of all, I want to thank every one of you guys on the industry panel. Eric, I would like to thank you personally for the GOA stuff that you've done with the pistol braces. But my question simply boils down to one thing. The big, bad, evil AR-15, how do we change this perception from being just a semi-automatic rifle like in a 10/22? Is there any way the industry can nationally start showing that the AR is nothing more than just a single-shot semi-automatic rifle?
You know what? I'm going to throw this one to Logan. Have we ever been able to change the perception? As somebody that's focused on history of firearms, have we ever been able to shift that around?
No, I don't think we have, and it's really unfortunate, especially when you consider that when Colt introduced the AR to the civilian market in 1963, because remember, the military didn't want it, and so Colt sent it to the civilian market first. They took out ads in all of the gun magazines at that time, American Rifleman, Gun Digest, and all of that, big full-page ads for the Colt Sporter and touting it as your next hunting rifle.
That's interesting.
And that was how that gun was presented to the public for the first time in the first major ad campaign for the AR-15. It was listed as the Colt Sporter, and you were going to take that gun hunting. And that's how the world was introduced to that semi-automatic rifle, and it has just, for lack of a better term, it has just gotten out of control from the other side. So it's certainly not been for lack of trying, even from day one.
I think people have a deep emotional connection to whatever they believe when it comes to firearms. So what you're asking is, can we change the perception and the emotional connection that millions and millions of people have based on primarily fear? And I don't think it is possible or likely to have that many people simultaneously overcome their mostly irrational fear of an inanimate object.
Well, I
John, can I add one thing?
Absolutely.
One of the things that we've tried to do is show how these firearms are so extremely useful in self-defense, loved by women. And if you go over to our table here, Stephen Williford, if any of you haven't heard his story, you need to go over and talk to him. He was the barefoot defender who stopped the mass shooting at Sutherland Springs, Texas in 2019. And he's just...
Round of applause for that young man.
That deserves a round
Stephen,
of
put your
applause.
hand up. Put your hand up. Thank you.
And so he's just published a book which tells his story. He'd love to autograph it for you. But one of the things that we've been able to do is get him on a lot of television, a lot of podcasts where he just, I don't know if he gets sick of telling that story, but he's telling the story over and over. But it's a powerful way of showing, you know, any tool can be used for evil or for good. And he used it for good to save people's lives. And so I think that's one powerful way of trying to change that narrative.
One other quick thing I'd like to add as well, it's the fear of the unknown. You know, anybody who shot an AR-15 knows it's not a scary, Like my 10-year-old can shoot an AR-15, but the people who don't know, who are uneducated on that, are afraid of it. So anybody you know who does not like guns, take them shooting. Especially even better if there's a 15-22 out there, let them shoot a gun and get rid of the fear of the unknown. I've done it to so many people. Guns are bad. They go shooting and they're like, well, that's kind of fun. And I think that's a very effective way.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. Hey, Orly, do we have any questions from our live online audience? By the way, shout out to everybody that's out there watching now. We're going to wave to you. Hello, there's a couple cameras here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We know you couldn't be here, but we love you for tuning in. Orly, go ahead with that question.
Yeah, we got a few questions from the chat here. Big Chimpin asking just a simple one. Are there any affordable battle rifles, 308, 6.5 Creedmoor in the works that you all know about?
Affordable. Let's go to LMT Defense.
No. Well, there is. It comes down to what firearms are tools, right? You know, you can go out and get Harbor Freight, wrenches and stuff, and you can work on your car, and they'll do the job, right? But are you a career shooter? Are you a career mechanic? You're going to go buy Snap-on. You're going to buy some Milwaukee stuff. There are firearms out there to meet every budget. And I'm not going to sit up here, I'll pull this off, and, you can go buy an arrow, and you can get the job done. Buy the firearm that's going to meet your budget. And like Tiberius is saying, the fear of unknown, if you got X amount of money and you want a battle rifle, 308 or 6.5 battle rifle, buy whatever's in your means, then go get training. Please go get training with that weapon system. Buy some ammo, buy a decent optic, and put that to use. Don't go out and say, all right, I got $2,500 to buy a weapon system and spend $24.95 on it, and then you have no sight, you have no ammo, you have no experience with it. So there's a lot of weapon systems, but it all comes down to what you want to do with it and how far you want to take that. So.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? Okay. Thank you for that question. Orly, we got another one from the online audience.
That we do. Mr. Jay Weth is asking, guess for the whole panel, what have you seen that shows the public the fun, positive side of the 2A community? And how can we continue to spread the positive nature of our industry?
All right, we're going to start with Jared with that one.
Oh, wow, yeah. So I think it's one of the biggest changes that I see and that we're seeing here is just the fact that question came in online. We're seeing technology is expanding our voice, our reach. We found ways, one of the brands, and come see me in a little bit, for reloading. Reloading is an older demographic, if you look at it. But when we started launching and looking at marketing, we found that we can do Facebook groups and Facebook Lives, and people loved it and came in. So it's great to spread that message, and what we're looking at is finding these new ways. They say GunCon, come to GunCon, watch GunCon live. It's awesome. This never would have happened 10 years ago. We used it as a platform to share pictures while we were on vacation, and now we can use it way more powerful through influencers. These guys that are here, millions and millions and millions of impressions, and that is such a powerful tool and it's crazy. Like, you meet them, and it's one of those things, like they say, don't meet your hero. Very, very rarely have I met some of these YouTube guys, and they aren't just as genuine in person. And they're legit, man. They care about the 2A community. They care about their fans. Like, they realize that some of them, they can be really humble and understand that without you fans, they're nothing. So it's great. I think that's the biggest change, and one of our biggest, most powerful tools that we'll be able to use as our voice is these influencers or our platforms and things like this.
One of the other things that I think is really cool is that people have realized, like, we got a couple younger folks. Raise y'all hand. Thank you. We got a couple younger folks here today, and I appreciate that parents are going, you know what? I don't want the schools, the people outside of my home to be pushing their agenda on my children, and they're starting to educate at even younger ages and showing them the wonderful side of this community and what we all come together about, firearms, hunting, being outside, being self-sufficient, all of those things. And it's wonderful to see young guys in the front row. High five. Love you guys. And I think it's really cool to see the industry accepting that and pushing that forward, right?
Yeah. You guys are the next generation, so whatever we can do to bolster your influence in the market, the industry, you know, whether you want to come work for a company like ours, we're here to educate and promote that enthusiasm.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
John, I'll add to that real quick.
Yeah, please.
So structured training is starting to be a thing. So I don't know if Friends of America, does everybody have chapters in their area of that? It's basically a 2A group. They just go shooting together. They start inviting somebody that hasn't ever done that into the fold, and then our local chapter has come and said, hey, we want some instruction. So that brings it in. But when we talk about the youth, for us, we just host Nerf wars in our shoot house.
That's an actual thing. I want everybody to hear that one more time.
We host Nerf wars in our military grade shoot house.
I'm a 39-year-old man, and I want to do that. I'm down.
It's a lot of fun. It gets the youth used to being in a shoot house. They ask a lot of good questions, and then later in life, they won't be so intimidated about coming in and doing it for real.
Do you hear him talking smack over here? Lean it, say that in the microphone.
John would be the first one out, just no doubt.
Have you seen this beard here? It's got like Kevlar woven in it. He's definitely lasting to the last round.
You see the size of the people that he'd be fighting.
Yeah.
Faster,
They're way
better
faster
hand-eye
than me.
coordination.
Yeah.
Dude, you're done.
I think we have a new idea.
We need to live stream it and sell pay-per-view.
It's going to happen. We can make that happen.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we should do that. Have an army of children against me.
John versus the 6th grade.
He's already
better
done
than a
that
sixth
once.
grader? What?
He said John versus the 6th grade. I was like, oh, haven't you already done that once?
Twice.
Twice, yeah. All right. Hey, if you guys are out there watching live real quick, I want to give a big shout out to Blackout Coffee. Now, Blackout Coffee provided all of the coffee here today. Everybody in the audience got some. It's really good. Raise your hand if you like Blackout Coffee. Look at that. Every hand going up. It's amazing. Now, I want you to go to blackoutcoffee.com/TGC. Hey, Jared, is there a promo code for? Okay, use the code TGC and get yourself a little discount. Get the Tenacity blend. Get 2A blend from Jared. And GOA's got a blend. They make some amazing coffee, teas, all that stuff. Go check it out, blackoutcoffee.com/TGC. Thank you so much. Let's take the question on the right here. Go ahead, speak into the microphone.
Hey, so I'm going to veer off from the political
Get
stuff
a little closer. Thank you.
and go more to products. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that I've seen and been excited by, like the smart guns, even novel things like faster twist rates for 8.6, creating wider expansion, like cool stuff like that. The powered rails that you were talking about that I have sketches of 5 years ago, how to make that work. So are there any, for your individual kind of areas, cool stuff that you're excited about that you've either seen or maybe is on the horizon that is exciting for us to geek out on?
Okay, we're gonna get everybody on that one because I think that's a great question. Eric, do you want to start? What's the? You're gonna pass on that? Okay, so Eric says machine guns for everybody. That's the most exciting thing. We're dismantling the NFA, right? I got you, brother.
Amen, brother.
Go ahead, Tiberius.
So at Rosco, we have a lot of new products coming out. Some new pistol barrels, bunch of new rifle barrels. I think I'm most excited about 6mm ARC. We started testing 6mm ARC, and if any of you folks haven't heard of it, it's a great round with great ballistics that has a lot of promise. So there's a ton of new products coming out.
You know what's really interesting is there's a lot less hype than there was with Valkyrie, but that cartridge seems to be sticking more. Keep going.
Now that was it.
Okay, great. Joe?
Ammo technology has gotten a lot better than it had generations before. So When you're talking about the expansion, if you rewind the clock, 30 years ago, you couldn't spin a 150 grain bullet like with a 1 in 3 twist rate. It would just completely come apart. And with the manufacturers and new technologies, new ways to manufacture bullets or even barrels and stuff like that, we're able to push materials to their extreme limits. So ammo, ARs and handguns and stuff like that they're generally going to be the same for a while until we revolutionize some sort of new material or way to ignite a primer. But the materials and how we interface with them is leaps and bounds what it was 10 years ago even. I mean, you look at what these guys are doing with barrels and what manufacturers are doing with bullets, and whether they're bonded or certain jackets and stuff like that. That's big right now.
I will wrap it up. Jared, can you jump in next?
Yeah.
What's some new interesting stuff?
So I'm going to do two.
Okay.
So American Outdoor Brands has 20-something brands. I'll talk about two of them. First one, Caldwell Shooting Supplies. We're doing some great stuff over there. I'm really excited about one of the big industries. I mean, we were known for our shooting rest, the lead sled. Super, super popular. Really built the brand. But we've expanded out into shotgun shooting. So we made our first clay target thrower, bringing innovation into products and stuff that hadn't been done. Everybody knows how an electric thrower works. It's great, but you have to drag a battery and stuff. So we're taking those pain points and being like, how can we make a clay thrower work like an electric thrower but use no batteries? Well, we designed that. We launched it. It's over there. Go tell Trent to give you a demo. If you're online, check it out on YouTube or wherever. A lot of them out there. So expanding that out, expanding out AR-500 steel. Everybody loves shooting steel targets. The growth in firearms and ammunition, the 6-arc, the PRCs, getting that long-range stuff out there, and nobody wants to go down range and change paper. So you put steel up. We come up with fun stuff for accessories for steel, hit indicators that flash green lights at you
and you
at over
you
a
can
mile.
see those things from so far away.
A long way.
Is Gavin still standing back here? Gavin?
There
hey,
he
there's
is.
Gavin. We just did a shoot at Gavin's place, and we used these hit indicators. What was it, 1,200 yards?
1280, almost 1300.
At Rock Chunk Olympics. The videos will be on Ultimate Reloader. Check that out.
Yeah. Rock Chuck Olympics, we used them, one of the first debuts of the flashbang hit indicator in use. It's just fun stuff like that we've identified. And then one of my passions is Frankfurt Arsenal reloading. I've been a reloader for a long time. Started out because I bought a 1911, loved to shoot it, couldn't afford to feed it, so I had to learn how to make my own. So when I started with American Outdoor Brands 5 years ago, that was one of the brands that I was assigned to as a brand manager. And I got to work with a friend of mine from college who's an amazing engineer and also a very much high volume reloader. And we went to our bosses, said, we want to make a progressive reloading press. They said, sure, go for it. So stop by and see it. I have progressive reloading machine that's 10 stations, run 1,000 rounds an hour at a price point that the common person can afford. It's not a $5,000 machine that's just not obtainable. But then we're also making reloading kits for beginners and getting that voice, that message out to the people that haven't reloaded and saying it's not scary, it's very easy, buy this whole kit. So we have some really cool stuff in that.
Really, the theme is that you're trying to make it easier for people to shoot.
Very much so.
Okay. Logan,
So
anything new and interesting?
Yeah, two things that you wouldn't think go together: flintlock rifles and CNC machining.
Okay.
But there is a company in Ohio, Jim Kibler Long Rifles, and he has spent years and has finally perfected putting together kit rifles that you can finish out. And he's rough building them and turning the stocks on CNC machines. He has designed and made his own lock, all designed with the CNC machine to give the tightest tolerances, the most repeatable ignition with your flint against the steel, perfecting the geometry of the frizzen on that. And then the coolest thing I think that he just did, because I have absolutely zero artistic ability whatsoever, that's why I'm a historian and not an artist, he has found a way to use the CNC machines when they're working on the stocks to put historic, like 18th century carving and scroll work and stuff into the stocks from the factory, so that you can have a golden era of the flintlock rifles with the gorgeous carving on it. And it doesn't look, it's not like with laser engraving and stuff, and it doesn't look like engraving. This carving is really well done, and it's legit. It's really, really cool. And so you can take a really awesome piece of extra fancy curly maple and have this CNC carving in there. It's really cool, and have one of the tightest tolerances on the locks that it's going to go
What was the name of
bang.
that company again?
It's Kibler Long Rifles.
Okay, check out Kibler Long Rifles. Eric, what do you think, bud?
One of the biggest challenges we have in training, especially what we do in a shoe house, is reducing the cost on the training ammunition. It's a little over $1 a round right now. So if you get into a class that's 500, 600 rounds, you can automatically see on top of your hotel bill that's going to be a very expensive class, while maintaining functionality of the weapon system and accuracy. And so as much as the video game like things you're starting to see a lot like at SHOT Show are kind of what we consider the diet pill of training, they are inducing some really good capabilities out there. So pretty soon, and it'll start in the law enforcement military side, we're going to be able to replicate the feeling of actually being shot, put on the ground, and you would have to fight through it without actually getting shot. It'll be super accurate, and the gun will your gun will work with the system.
That's really, really interesting. Honestly, the diversity in the answers is kind of amazing. Thank you for the question. Come up and get some tickets.
Will that be Nerf compatible?
100%. That's where we're starting with it.
Okay.
With the Army.
All right.
I hope it hurts really bad when they shoot you.
Start pulling. That's good.
No, you just take it.
There you go.
Amplify it 100.
Thank you so much. Honestly, guys, thank you for all of these questions. This is great. On the left, what's your name?
Hi, my name is William.
Hi, William. Thank you for being here. Iowa State.
Yep.
Go team. What's your question?
So with regard to the military's recent adoption of the Spear rifle, and the rifle being almost 13 pounds, not including the ammunition, do you feel like the military is leaning back on lessons that we should have learned back in the Vietnam War?
I think there's one person that knows that military space very, very well, sitting to my right.
So your question was, are we repeating some of the same mistakes? I think that it could go either way. What we're looking at when we build weapon systems that are heavier and bigger is not necessarily are we making the weapon system heavier for the user. It's what more lethality are we giving the user. So that weapon system wasn't built around like a frame. It wasn't like let's start with the skeleton of a weapon and then build it from there. The genesis of that was the caliber. The 6.8 bullet that they wanted was to defeat near peer body armor at extreme distance. So that when you take a look at that, it goes back to what the previous gentleman had asked about. I said ammo. That round was specifically developed for high pressure. That high pressure needs to be contained a certain way. That is where we built the gun up from there, and then it got heavy. So you're going to see some improvements with that, I think. Whether it's the Spear or any other weapon system, is how does that do in real-world application, and what alternatives or changes are made to it later on?
Great question. Come up and get some tickets. You want to set him up with some tickets, Joe? Thank you. Hey, guys, it is getting a little rowdy outside. Just be aware, if you hear some thunder and stuff, no big deal.
Yeah.
We're in an amazing place, all huddled together. This is one of the safest places we can be in America. And I'm not talking about the fact that there's a tornado shelter behind me. I'm talking about you guys are all, hopefully, armed. Okay. Before I push too much farther, I want to again say a thank you to Brownells for supporting this. Is anybody from Brownells that works there? I can't see. Everybody's milling around. Doesn't matter. Thank you to the Brownells family for supporting this event and making this come together. We could not do this without them. Thank you to them for sure. And I believe, hey Orly, do we have a promo code for GunCon with Brownells? I think it's GunCon 23. I may be off.
Yeah, we got a product code right here. GunCon.
Speak closer to the mic, please.
GunCon 23.
GunCon
For
23 is a promo
$20
code. $20 off?
$200.
There you go. $20 off, $200. GunCon 23, Brownells promo code. Okay, let's grab one more question off the live audience. Orly, give me a question if you've got one.
Yeah, we got some questions here. The chat is going off. Everybody, thank you for the questions.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys watching live. It's amazing to see so many people supporting this. Go ahead.
John Boudreau asked, do you believe the Made in Texas suppressor law will change the 2A landscape if found constitutional?
No, because other states have to step up and be just as good. Great question. Thank you so much. On the right,
Good morning.
speaking to the mic, and what's your name?
My name is Zach.
Hi, Zach.
I have worked in the federal court system for over 17 years now, and I know there was some discussion earlier about Bruin. I've seen more challenges to the 18922, the felon in possession, drug user in possession statutes than I have in my entire time in working in the courts. I'm just curious from a political perspective or a historical perspective where folks see these potential challenges going in the future.
Go ahead.
So, yes, felon in possession, especially nonviolent felon in possession, we're seeing courts ruling against that law, saying that, or that particular federal law, saying that there's no historical equivalent when the Constitution was made. Like I was, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Bruin has really opened the door. It's interesting when Heller was being argued, we were involved with an amicus brief where we actually argued for text and history. USA Today called us up and said, we want to do an interview with you because yours is the only brief that's arguing for text history shall not be infringed. Well, we were so pleased to see the court use that, and that, and it's been slow going because a lot of courts were resistant to using that, and they came up with these bogus two-step approaches, et cetera, et cetera. But now, with Bruin, they've made it abundantly clear if you can't go back and show historically that in the text and history or that there was such a law at the time of the founding, then it is unconstitutional. And so we're seeing district judges all over the country adopting that. The ones you reference, we've been successful in New York with challenging the concealed carry law. It's now on appeal, obviously. In Illinois, same thing with the semi-auto ban there. And in Texas, where our judge and other judges too in Texas, federal judges, ruled against Biden's gun ban on up to 40 million pistols. So, yeah, there's just been an explosion. Obviously, there's still some liberal judges that are resistant to this, but I think progress is being made. There's been a very strong beachhead laid, and it's just a matter of, we're going to keep filing cases and forcing these judges to submit.
I think the influx of new gun owners and a lot of people going, wait, what's happening? A lot of people realizing how bad it was, and I think they're jumping in the fight, and that's a great thing. Great question. Come up and get some tickets, brother. Appreciate it. Let's go to the left side. Speaking to the microphone, what's your name?
Todd.
Todd, hi. Thank you for being here. He's got a GunCon shirt on. That means he was here last year as well. Thanks for coming back. What's your question?
I got a question. I got a two-part one, I guess, if I can. Eric.
Let's keep it tight. Let's keep it tight.
Eric, thank you for everything you do. And well, I wanted to bring up a bunch of things, but the credit card thing that was brought up in the news recently, that the credit cards were supposedly volunteering information to the ATF for gun purchases, and I just read that that's been backed down, but I believe that. So
Yeah, that's the information I have too, that they're backing off on that. And you could probably thank a lot of the states that are passing laws that are, basically nullifying that in their states. So right now, I think we're at a better place than we were before.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Come up here and get some tickets, brother. We got to keep it rolling. We're actually blowing through time. There's been so many good questions, guys. We really, genuinely do appreciate it. Rip yourself some off there. Right there. Tear it off. Now, I'm sorry that we don't have anything for the live audience watching except for amazing promo codes with a company like Blackout Coffee. blackoutcoffee.com/TGC. Use our code TGC. Get yourself a discount. Get some amazing coffee. We genuinely appreciate it. We all love it. There's a reason that we all love it, because it's good. Go buy some. Code is TGC. Let's go over here to the right. Speaking to the microphone, what's your name?
Wait, my name is Mike.
Mike. Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask about, with not getting into the brace stuff, but with braces under the gun right now, people trying to get rid of that. I kind of see that as one of the major improvements the industry has made toward helping people with handicaps shoot firearms and get into firearms lifestyle and self-defense. I'm curious if you guys know of anything going on in the industry that you're excited about for disabled people other than the braces that they could be looking into to improve their ability to carry and use a gun.
I think the brace thing scared the crap out of a lot of people from innovating. I would love to see, and I'm sure these guys would agree, we would love to see more companies taking risks and innovating in that space. And it's very difficult to do that when the threat of, big bad ATF is like, hey, this could be legal, you could make millions of dollars, and then we're going to strip it from everybody and crush the industry in half. That's a problem. So I think that scares people from innovating. What do you guys think? Anybody want to jump in on that? Any new interesting stuff for disabled people?
I think companies like Caldwell are going to be the better folks. Obviously, you're not looking at hand-fired systems, but for the true disabled people that need to get out there and continue to shoot and stuff like that, being able to better support that weapon system, or if they're on some sort of a device where they need mobility and stuff like that, brands like Caldwell are really going to be able to stand out and innovate and get better ways to shoot. So,
do you guys have it? Do you ever have conversations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you, so Caldwell had a product called Field Pod, and it was a gun rest that wasn't just maybe for people with a handicap, but it was very adaptable to helping people that were perhaps paralyzed. I have a friend that was paralyzed when he was 18 in a float accident, and I take him to the range, and yeah, you number one, that community is very adaptive, very resourceful, and we can help them with stuff like that. What ends up helping is everybody else that doesn't have a disability. It helps us shoot better. Not talking about braces necessarily, but like in shooting rest. So yeah, we have Field Pods. We moved to our hunting brand called BOG, B-O-G, and we came out with a new type of field rest called the Death Grip. And there's like 3 or 4 different generations of Death Grips now, but check them out. They're all over the place, but it holds the rifle steady for you and takes some of that upper body strength requirement out. We see a lot of that. I'll say also not on a product side as much, but as somebody that shoots competitively a lot more than I hunt, I'm seeing a lot of the disciplines becoming more adaptable to letting somebody that if you do have a disability of changing and adapting to those needs to make sure that they can come and have fun with us as well. And it's really awesome. I mean, I've shot USPSA with guys in electric wheelchairs and stuff, and it's you figure it out. And I think we can all do a better job of inviting those people and not saying, oh, there's a disability. Well, they have a disability, but they're still able. Bring them out. My friend shoots a gun, and we had to make a special bolt and stuff for him, but he can definitely do it.
That's awesome, man. I love seeing companies understanding who their actual audience is, because it's not just a rubber stamp anymore. In years past, that may have worked, but that is far gone. Mike, why don't you come up here and grab some extra tickets, brother? I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm making the guy with the cane walk up here. This Shinzing, go ahead. Hold on. The mic's not on.
How about now? Oh,
Hey,
there we go.
there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Hello. So I'm over here wondering what I, as a friend, as a family member, can be doing to inspire confidence in the people around me when it comes to firearms. So what have you seen that inspires people when it comes to firearms, whether they're going from, oh, what if somebody takes the gun away from me, or, oh, I can't handle a gun, I can't handle a situation. What have you seen inspires people from going from that space into confidence?
Eric's got some really interesting courses that are right in line with that. Do you want to speak on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It does come down to training, the exposure, right? You have to look at it like as many times as you can get in that situation, the more you'll rely on your training than panic, right? So we can't always train the mentality, but we can put you in the scenario so many times and get you enough repetitions that you are now task-oriented and you're used to it. If you start thinking about the first time, okay, we talk about a lot of times about driving home. You don't have to look at the street signs. You don't have to look at the stop sign. You know where to stop. You know where to turn. We can put you in the scenarios so many times that just becomes the neural pathway gets developed. It's, for lack of a better term, muscle memory. And what that does, even in the very first class, that familiarity and being in a group of peers starts making you a lot more confident. And then as you train and you understand the tactics and the techniques to make you successful, and you've now performed those many times, obviously the confidence comes in play there.
Yeah, and that's when you hear training, sometimes it can sound really serious, but the stuff they do is some of the most fun you can have with a gun, and I think it's just about building that camaraderie around it, and that really takes the walls down. It really does. It really does. Anybody else got anything to add to that one? Okay, cool. Let's move on. On the right, come up here and get some tickets, by the way. On the right, what's your name, man?
Steven.
Steven, thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you. How has the growth of grappling martial arts affected training, dealing with people who might have some or using it to defend yourself?
So, can you say that one more time? I couldn't hear very well. You said martial arts?
Like grappling martial arts that work well with firearms and defending yourself.
I mean, I'm one of the fattest people in this building. I have no idea. Anybody got any idea on martial arts being used with firearms?
Absolutely. It's our defensive tactics, right? It's our open hand techniques. I mean, a lot of us have carried a lot of years and haven't used the gun to protect ourselves. You may have to use your hands and your knowledge first. What I want to say is where I've seen the biggest changes in law enforcement, and I'm proud of that. I'm an officer. I've been in law enforcement in the last 16 years, most of my time in SWAT, but we have changed over these wrist locks and arm locks into jiu-jitsu. And it keeps us safer, and it keeps, believe it or not, the suspects safer because we're a lot more knowledgeable. We understand what what we're doing a little bit more on the ground. And we've had some recent events that have shown a lack of training and have helped drive that. Not only that, but the fact that our citizenship is now becoming a lot more educated on it drives it a lot more too. What we do find out in our training scenarios is that the martial arts community has way better de-escalation techniques verbally than anybody else. Okay. And I think that's just a direct reflection of the training and the confidence that you guys have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Great question. Come up and grab yourself a couple tickets. We're going to take one more. Yeah, we're blowing through time. I appreciate all the questions, guys. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for that question. Go ahead. What's your name?
Kyle.
Kyle. Thanks for being here. What's your question?
It's actually from my uncle. He's overseas in Jordan right now. He's
Okay.
watching
What's your uncle's name?
Corey Strohmeyer.
Corey. Thank you. If you're watching, Corey,
you for
we
your
really
service.
appreciate it. We really appreciate the support. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
His question is, why isn't there more schools like SDI or the modern gunsmithing schools or more in-person schools across the nation like the one in Colorado?
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So basically, why aren't there more educational schools within the firearms community, industry, et cetera? You guys, anybody want to jump in on that? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
Is it just firearms? I mean, if you look, we're losing tradesmen.
Yeah.
All over.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I think you'll see that, and there's some people out there that are trying to turn that around. But the gunsmithing and gun industry is not immune from it. We do have the MGS guys.
Yeah. Shout out to MGS. They're here and a
sponsor
sponsor.
this, yes. So there are some out there. It's not like a college though that I would love to see that change, but I don't know the cause of it.
Well, and that's from the manufacturing side. We get a lot of younger folks, we'll call it that are focusing on programming, CNC, and the manufacturing in a different way. You got to look, the generation of gunsmiths came from a generation of people who used manual machines, manual lathes, manual mills, and then they took their passion for machining and turned it into a profession as a gunsmith. Those manual machines are gone. I mean, we still use them, in...
Gavin has them all.
Yeah, he bought all of them probably. We still use them, but the community has changed. We would love to see more of it, and there are a lot of schools and stuff like that are promoting that. You just got to target the audience, and perhaps the schools could do more to target those audiences.
So I actually sat down with Zeke from MGS not that long ago. We've got a podcast. We sat down for about an hour and talked about all this sort of stuff. So subscribe to the TGC podcast on whatever podcasting thing, and wait on that one, because that's going to be a great discussion where we get through a lot of things like that and what they're doing to push and change the game for that sort of side of things. Thanks for that question. Come up here and get yourself some tickets, brother. We appreciate it. Apparently, Grinnell College here in Iowa has some gunsmithing stuff. Yeah, just rip off a bunch, dude. Look, you're being encouraged to take it. Yeah. That is the last question. I really genuinely do appreciate all of you being here. This is an absolutely amazing thing. And this was the first ever industry panel. Did you guys have a good time? Thank you so much. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Thank all of you for being up here with me. This has been awesome. I think we've got an amazing group of folks, and if you guys want, we'll do it again next year. Everybody out there watching live, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Check out Brownells. Use that promo code, Blackout Coffee as well. And, of course, thank you all for watching. We'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.